Hey guys, it's Isaac from the GTE Event Group and Captured, and today I have in the building Mariah Burton Walton from Simply Flowers. Hi. I said that right?
Yes,
yeah.
Good morning.
Okay, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. So she's here today to actually talk with us about how to shop for flowers, for your big day or any event that you're having. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
First question I like to ask is how long you been in the business?
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
And I know we were talking about this not too long ago, but you actually have a shop here in town, right?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
We bought a commercial building about 6 years ago, and so it grew from the family's garage, and then we put our big girl pants on and bought a building, and have since been very successful in that endeavor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Walk me through the process. So let's just say me and my wife, or me and my fiance,
Mm-hmm.
we just got engaged, and of course we know we need something.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you tell me, or what would you tell me to kind of get started? Shopping flowers.
So the first thing is that it's a lot of brides come in and they haven't picked a venue or a date or colors. So get your basics down first and pick a location and a date and some general colors. Pinterest is always a fantastic avenue to get inspiration and a general sense of your style. Mm-hmm. And then after that, kind of look around online. I wouldn't over shop. I'd probably pick 2 to 3 florists that you think you would be a good fit for your event, and then make appointments with them and go over in detail what you're looking for. A lot of things that brides have a hard time with is talking about their budget, but if you have a general budget and then show these photographs, a good florist will be able to give you suggestions to fit that budget, or give you alternatives like a low, medium, high proposal. And then it's basically, if you jive with them, if you feel comfortable with them, base it on their experience. And is it important that they have insurance? Is it important that they work out of their home, or if they have a location? Figure out what's important to you and then go from there.
Okay. So I actually was once told from one of my couples, it's like, oh my gosh, Isaac, Pinterest should come with a warning label in regards to cost,
so
right?
True. Yes.
They see these things like, oh my gosh, that looks beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I know, because being in the business, right? They see these beautiful photos and like, those won't work because the ceilings are so high in that building and the ceilings in your building are too low, right?
Exactly.
So, stuff like that. So anyways, guys, be careful if you're using Pinterest,
Yes.
And another thing you talked about was insurance. Mm-hmm. Like, as a florist, have you ever had to work a venue or you couldn't go in there until you provided that insurance?
Yes, there's several venues in town that have that requirement, and it's really not that expensive, but it just adds that extra layer of confidence or legitimacy to a business, so that the brides can feel comfortable in their purchase. The flowers are an investment, and you want to make sure that if something does go wrong, God forbid, that you do have some type of recourse to get your funds back if you needed to, if there was a major mistake.
Okay. So do you recommend that a couple should come to you with kind of a budget in mind first, as to what they want to spend? Or
money is kind of a touchy subject with a lot of people, and a lot of times brides will say, well, I don't know what flowers cost, but you do have an idea of what you want to spend. Mm-hmm. So, always come in with what you really, really want. And then I usually like to give my clients a proposal as if budget wasn't an issue, and give them that piece of paper, and then they can kind of chew on it a little bit and figure out if they're comfortable spending that or if they need other ideas. And so we can go back to the drawing board and come up with a plan B or C for them to fit that budget. So, but if you do have that number in mind, it's great. Just be forthcoming with it and say, look, I want to spend $2,000 and this is what I want. And this is what's important to me, but the rest I'm willing to be able to negotiate or come up with a different plan in order to fit that budget.
Got it. So be flexible.
Be flexible, yeah. And understand, Pinterest, it's kind of a dream crusher sometimes. Brides will come in and they're just like, I want these hanging arrangements and this install and da-da-da. And then it's a $15,000 wedding and their jaw drops on the ground. So I feel like I've just, crushed their dreams. But a lot of times, dream killer. But a lot of times, you can say, this is the general aesthetic that I'm looking for. What can I do for this amount of money? And a lot of times we'll make decisions in our conference room, and the bride may be disappointed, but she has to remember that we're the only people that know she had to go back to a different decision that she didn't want. Nobody else is going to notice. And at the end of the day, guests are going to remember that the wedding was gorgeous, but they're not going to remember that she used Italian ruscus instead of real ruscus. Like, they're not going to know why it was pretty. They're just going to remember that it was pretty.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's just say, since we're talking about money, I want to save some money. What are some tips that you might be able to share with couples out there who are like, hey, if you really need to save money, here's some things to kind of look for?
Okay. So this is a big topic of conversation.
Okay.
And I know a lot of brides, sometimes they don't like my answers, but the reality is, don't have 10 bridesmaids in your wedding.
Okay.
Stick to 3 people, 2 people. Do not have 10 bridesmaids. I mean, the average bouquet is anywhere between $75 and $100 for bridesmaids. That's a lot of money right there.
Yeah.
Have a smaller guest count. You don't need 400 of your closest friends, because in reality, 5 years from now, you're not going to talk to half of them. So shorten your guest list and make it an intimate wedding that's truly reflective of your style, and you're not going to feel bad about that. And a lot of times everybody talks about seasonality of flower choices. We're in California, so that doesn't really apply to us because we have so many amazing flowers year round with our greenhouses and our climate and all that other stuff. So that's not really a huge issue here in Fresno, but be realistic. And for some reason, everybody thinks candles are super cheap. They're not. They are not cheap, okay? So kind of keep in mind and be flexible about your idea. Say, this is what I really want, but this is how much I can afford. And then trust your florist to make sound suggestions for you. But really, it comes down to numbers. Have a smaller bridal party and have a smaller guest count. And that's the easiest way to cut your budget.
Got it. So, in regards to bringing out the flowers and setting up, do you guys do that?
Absolutely. We're full service, and we have a refrigerated fleet of vehicles, and we have walk-ins, and we kind of work with the photographer or the wedding planner regarding a timeline, kind of decide on the weather. If it's going to be 108 degrees, we actually don't want to show up till like the very last minute, but we do full setup, and we will clean up at the end of the night, because that's the last thing you guys want to do. You've had a couple cocktails and you're tired. You don't want to clean up vases.
Yes. Guys, don't do that. I know right now it's like, hey, every dollar I save counts.
No.
At the end of your wedding, yes, get someone to clean up. And does that include rentals? Like, so if I need a vase or the centerpiece, like, you provide the rentals as well?
Actually, a benefit to using our company is that we don't charge a rental fee for any of our vessels. So if you use us for flowers, the vases, the pillars, any of those hard goods are included free of charge, unlike a lot of companies here in town.
All right. So there's a savings right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh. And you don't want 25 vases after your wedding anyway. What are you going to do with all that? So, yeah.
Okay. What else should I know? Anything else you could think of?
I think flowers are an important part of any wedding, and some people would disagree, but I think from an aesthetic standpoint, when you get your pictures back, and by the way, I think you should spend a lot of money on photography, because that's what you're left with at the end of the day. But I think when you get your pictures back, the flowers are going to add that pop of color. They're going to remind you of what a perfect day that was. And I know I'm biased, but flowers really do create a beauty and a sense of style that's reflective of that couple. So even if you can't afford a lot of flowers, spend your money on your bouquet and then maybe cut back anywhere else. But you want to have that memory, and you want to have that bouquet that makes you smile. And that's what our goal is to make your memories beautiful. And that's what we want.
Cool. Yeah. So if someone wants to get a hold of you for a consultation or, for flowers, how do they get a hold of you? Yeah,
just give us a call. Our design studio phone number is 276-1200, and you can always find us online at Simply Flowers Fresno.
Yeah, very cool. And guys, I'm Isaac Atkinson. You can catch me on IG, and that's Isaac_Atkinson_ or at GTE Event Group. Your Instagram account, did you give them that?
Simply Flowers Fresno.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys have a comment and you're watching this video on YouTube, please leave a comment below. I'm sorry, if you guys have a comment or question, leave it in the comment section below. Other than that, feel free to DM me. Thank you again for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and stay safe during this time. Have a great day.